Goofy morning. All right. Well, I mean, if it fits. Morning, V, Val, Martin, Lisa, MW, Matthias, Bizram. Hey, Ty. How was the flight, man? Okay. It's nice. Nice. Oh God, you barely even realized you're up there. Morning, miss. Mm-mm. Yeah. Basically flew over my house. So what are we looking at here? Finally, yesterday, traded into our midpoint of our larger area. As you guys know, we like to refine down. So the most important part of this entire zone is what? It's the area where we made a decision here whether this was going to lead to failure or if it was going to lead to expansion. Right? More specifically, that area there, I suppose. But what I'm doing is I like to take the higher time frame area because this movement down mitigated this movement down. Right? Lo and behold, sure enough, yesterday, bang, right into it. So we used that cool 4 o'clock yesterday's action in the afternoon, clearly chopping around. And then what do we see? Manipulation, movement back in, clears out everything that's not part of structure. I'm thinking we might do something similar at 9:30. At the very minimum, clear out all of this that's not part of structure. With the possibility of sweeping into this low, I wouldn't be surprised. The consideration of the long side, though, is that we now have a 600-point day and another 600-point day. First time, my goodness, first time in how long, right? That's 4. That's 5, right? That's 4. Yep. I don't, certainly not in recent memory. There's a 900-point day back in September. I think we saw there was one in November that was large too, didn't we? That's 5, so that's not it. Yeah, there we are. No, it's still 560. Still 560. Right? But back to back? Back to back? Man, how far back we have to go for back to back? Probably back to, well, we had a huge green day in between, but we're looking something like this, where we had our 40-point sell-off in a month. Coincidentally, for those of you who know me, this is when I started futures trading. Right here. With no idea what I was doing. But man, was I a rock star short in the markets. Was I a rock star short in the markets? Made a hell of a lot of money right up until here. Right up until there, where I promptly proceeded to lose it all. Morning, Cal, Martin, Anthony, Zin, and Drama. Anyway, MB2. What's up, bro? 62. Currently double top. We've got, but what I like to look at in terms of weather forecasting for the day, in a sense, is I like to look at the range that occurs from about 8:30 to 9:30. If we're in about a 20-point range or so, then that tells me something a little bit different. Here we've got 62 down to 18. We're in like a 40, 50-point range, right? That's actually overnight. But if we look from here, especially when this breaks and expands, that kind of tells me that we've got a little bit more volatility coming in than perhaps otherwise. So clearly not part of 15-minute structure. This is a higher time frame move. Sprinting up. Trading away from this high. Ideally, well, typically I should say, we get a move from here that comes back down to mitigate the zone. But when you have these higher time frame movements, you don't want to be looking short off of it. Even the 15-minute. What this will likely do is have a small movement away from it before breaking, and then it has to decide if it's going to break convincingly or what it's going to do. Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Mm, mm, mm. Anybody take any trades through London with this nonsense that occurred? It was actually quite lovely. You're busy? Busy at the office? Mm. Did you snag those valves? Jesus. Look at that. Your guys' progress is insane. Your guys' progress is insane. Probably get yeah, I'll make a Twitter post here and we'll get I'll make a Twitter post if you guys want to throw it in general. Would hate for the community to miss this. It looks like it's gonna be a really fun day. Sure. Yesterday for me, as you guys kind of remember, was feeling like death from start to finish. Somehow made money in the market, but I passed out pretty much after the stream. Apparently, you guys killed it with Bats and Mikey, though, so nice work, lads. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Look at it chopping around, eh? Look at her chopping around. This is so funny. It's not funny, actually, but when I draw out these forecasts, typically I do them on a 15-minute chart or something. I never do it properly with the concept of time. I'm always just kind of marking out what I expect to happen. So apparently we're getting a bounce at 4 p.m. And this move is just going to take until 2 o'clock to get here. Must work on it. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Yes. So, Bats and I do a lot of psychological talk. He's a very, very, very good trader. He's been trading for a while as well. A lot of you guys are already finding that you actually have, yes, there's little tweaks and whatnot that we go over on stream, right? Where we can refine down or we're kind of putting everything together, what we expect to happen, right? Little nuances that change day to day, right? Things like, does that body closure matter, right? Little things, little things where you just improve on your understanding of price and structure and all of that, right? Or when you even grow further, you actually expect that low to go and then this move to happen afterwards. And you're kind of understanding things through the education here and whatnot. And then you kind of wake up one day after being up 7 days in a row and you kind of go, I've got this. And then that day turns into disaster. And you realize, well, actually, your first thought isn't realization. Your first thought is, God, am I that good? What happened here? Maybe I need a new strategy so that these days don't wreck me, or maybe I need to study this a little bit better, or whatever. And part of that's true, right? There's certain days typically that mess with us more than others, and that's intrinsic to you guys specifically, but you'll come to a realization that you have the strategy that those 7 days where you made money leading up to the bad one is actually more than enough to make a consistent living in this market, you know. And you can scale that to making 10, 20, 30 grand a day. That's feasible. But it's the psychological aspect that's going to keep things going long term, which coincidentally is actually one of the main draws of this area, this group we're putting together. Les and I are talking a lot on what her live with you guys is going to be like. And I'm actually a little upset that I'm not going to be able to be there because it's going to be a hell of an event. Mm, mm, mm. So everybody understands why we're looking at this low to be taken on this push down that then leads higher. Start off with a fun little question for you, lads. Are we awake? Are people short? My goodness. What's going on? In a down move, in an uptrend, what gets cleared out? Everything not part of structure. Is this part of structure? 60-point valid low trade legend. It's not, right? So we actually came down to the protected low here, swept it, failed, which leads to this high now being weak. Away we go. Coincidentally, this body closure is not relevant. And there was actually a second entry here, which I got some very, very good feedback, which I had quite a bit of thinking over last night on getting involved in these moves when we're not really interested in sweep price action. Tom Dream double sweep. Yep. Yup. Right. Protected low. Not really sweeping in here. Sideways, selling pressure. So even if you did consider long in here, cool, right? You ended up taking something. And then when this candle closes here, oops, what do we got going on? Right? Manipulation, runs the lows. Probably down into this. We got 8 minutes. 8 minutes. 8 minutes. I am living for the 25th of July right now. Woo! That's fun. We're going down to last 1 minute swing. That's probably, I don't know why I was thinking here. That was a little bit wishful thinking. Right? So if we get failure here, that takes us back to consolidation. Possibility right now that I'm looking at for open. This is a little premature. Coincidentally, we actually liked that it left equal highs above without running it. But it means that we need to clear some stuff out first. I'm moving on the 26th. We've got the biggest community day that we've had since Bullpen started on the 25th, which is going to be electric. And I threw some of my Apex payouts into some new furniture that delivers on the 27th. So it's going to be some wild few days. Wild few days. Oh, no, actually, I sent them a follow-up email yesterday. They still have left some of my accounts from June. Seething. I'm seething. I'm happy you guys got your payouts for the first 2 weeks of July. I'm not requesting anything until they sort this out. Well, mainly because I'm not actually trading them until last thing I need is to have 5K per account being requested and issues. So, where am I moving? I'm just moving downtown. Just moving downtown in here. Downtown Kelowna. And so how's price delivering? We're respecting an imbalance. This needs to make a new low. If it cannot, then we go back up here. $6.25, that could have been manipulation. We'll see. We'll find out pretty quick, actually. If it doesn't stop here, we go right through the high. There's not going to be, I find it highly unlikely that we'll do something like this. Unless it just decides to wait to open, and if it does that, then we go quite a bit higher. Right? This is an unlikely scenario that we do this, which would lead to pretty much immediately taking our 300s. Well, not immediately, but that would be the target. That would be the target. I will say, though, Top Step and Take Profit have been pretty good in my experience on profit taking. Pretty quick and seamless process. So I didn't know that they give you your activation fees as well of your evaluation on your first ones. That's kind of cool. Very weak bearish response. Reacting with that fractal, but not decisive yet. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Did anybody take anything? Oops. Did anybody take anything in here? Legend. There's your possible second entry off of this area, but very close to open, so I wouldn't give it a lot of room. Otherwise, we just flush down. It's possible that we sweep here, but there's also a strong possibility of clearing out because this area is our last zone. We don't really have a zone. So if it lets go, we go. And we go pretty quickly back down to this consolidation, more than likely. Well, actually, is that true? We've got, yeah, yeah, we'd probably liquidate down to here at minimum. Yep, yep, yep. Let's see. Yeah, the problem I don't like with the short is the equal highs. The equal highs and the higher time frame narrative. Right, we just swept a protected low here. I'm expecting this to get wrecked. Right. Yes, that's a 30-point movement down. Fair enough. I would just be expecting, I would be expecting higher before lower. And if that means I miss it, then I miss it. Right now, it's pretty convincingly moving down, but 20 seconds. Right. And this didn't trade back empty here either. Yep. 9:30. We'll see. This candle needs to accelerate lower. We really shouldn't have to deal with any of this that's not part of structure until bless me, until we get down to here-ish, which I think coincides with confluence here, right? So top of this zone, probably somewhere in here, which is a 20-point range, but 15-minute imbalance. We've got a few of them on the way. Depends entirely how this candle closes. Might make it very tricky to get long, but I'm expecting a little bit lower for short, assuming continued failure. Really good selling pressure coming in. Not quite there yet, but be expecting sub 100 for sure. Probably looking low 80s, high 70s. Does everybody understand why this is all liquidated? Hey, Chris. Could this be an area for bounce? That's an SMDR for sure. It's an SMDR for sure. Right? What I'm looking at is if you're considering SMDR, right? Essentially, we're looking at this being excuse me. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose that is, right? I'm more looking at the area of consolidation and the midpoint, right? So this is where major decision making happened. This not so much. It is a fractal for sure, and we've swept it. I don't think we quite made it down to that consolidation we were talking about. So recall that when you have consolidation, that mitigates another area, this area becomes important, right? Looks like we've actually swept that area you were talking about. That's very violent. We're now looking to see what goes on with this imbalance. If that imbalance is respected, we go below here. Your 8:30 a.m. nose candle. Okay. That's a small news candle. 20 points. Hidden valid zone in here. Fair. Good, man. I'm still expecting a little bit lower. Mm-hmm. Don't toy with me, NQ. Don't toy with me. Right? So this area that mitigated prior to, we've already tapped into this area, which might be possible. There's a lot of selling pressure here as much as it's trying to rally. It's a really good defense. So what you guys would be looking for potentially would be if we're going to fail above here or not. Right? This candle, actually the bearish one, into that imbalance. If we thrust up into this fractal, that would take you back down for potential long. If we fail here, however, that's not good for the long side. Now I'm expecting this low to get taken from that. Otherwise, I'm break even. Mm-hmm. You gonna run it? There you go. Thank you. That's a good sweep. Not yet. Not yet. Well, it's really good defense. Right. So what you're looking at when you get in on these, as you're looking at your first point of interest, when you have a large bull bar like this that we just traded through and closed below, you're immediately looking at this for respect. Why? Because that's what you would be looking for if you were trading aggressively short, right? Now, we're not looking to short here, obviously. But if this gets respected, we likely trade lower, right? At least in the interim. That's your first area of interest. Nice trade call. Beauty, right? I would have much rather higher for short. This is just price action trading, right above our objective. This is called what? Right? And if that's going to fail, it's going to fail typically here and unload. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm. Right? So obviously aggressive entry here after this, body closure underneath. Insider area of interest, cool. We now need something above here, and if it taps back in and goes, then we might expect this to get taken. Right? We've traded back into here slightly. We've obviously mitigated here. This would be a lower time frame SNDR that we've now we're now considering if this is going to blast through. We've got this. We need a little bit more than that. He's going to do it. Mm-hmm. We're going to hit our 70s. Looks like it, eh? Not really anything I liked in here. This SNDR was based around us actually trading through and then coming back. That would have been the decision making point. So get rid of that now. This wouldn't have been a short I was interested in. I can understand the price action of it, but I definitely missed this move. So we get going on here. How much more we got left from structure here? I suppose this low is technically weak, but mm, 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 mm. Starting to accelerate. You can see orders picking up. which is good for us right by our point of interest. We want to see some sort of buying pressure come in that's sustained, not just being sold into every second. Otherwise, you're buying a falling knife. Interesting. See how it's stalling here? Really good selling pressure. Might take that low. Oops. Got here. So technically weak. A little bit surprising that we didn't get held up at all in here so far. Draw enough lines in your chart. I suppose everybody's a genius, but what we're looking at is these equal highs. Still wasn't that interested in the short, but I understand clearing out all this that wasn't part of structure. So we'll see what happens with this low. I don't think we've got, well, actually, that's not true. We've got this decision-making point here. Let's get rid of all that forecasting, and we'll see. Rockets and falling eye. There's been a lot of two-way swings for sure. Characteristic of higher time frames getting in and out with large fundamental news. There's a lot of selling that came out of this fractal. If we're going to continue lower, we would want to see it tap into this and fail. Otherwise, this move is going higher. Now, that's a difficult trade to get involved in, obviously. We didn't really get a sweep. We didn't take anything, I don't believe. We took that low, I suppose. If we're going to take that weak low, this is how we would do it. This has got to accelerate lower now. Otherwise, they're just chopping people to rocket higher. We don't want it tapping here below this candle into this imbalance and then failing. I did hit this short. I'm looking for this low. At a minimum, I'm looking for this candle. Strong defense here, and I'm considering getting out. We'll see. If we come up to that the open of that candle at 50, then I'll probably take one of these off. But I want capitulation here underneath. Violent, violent, violent. Violent, violent, violent. Is it going to give it to me? I'm flat at the midpoint now if it comes back up there. But I'm expecting this low. And I'm flat. Annoying. Annoying, annoying, annoying. But it is what it is. Small continuation shorts. Didn't like the defense of this low. You can kind of see the adjustment in order flow as it was attempting to fail and could not. It may very well sweep this and continue lower. But I'm not interested in a second short trade. That essentially was tapping in and going lower to this point of interest, but so what have we got? We've got our micro uptrend here that failed, right? So we've got this area here. We've got a lot of nonsense on our chart right now, actually. That obviously did not pan out the way we wanted it to, even if it gave a little bit of a reaction. Yes, we have fractals in here, which might provide little movements, but I'm not looking for small movements in this because this is without structure on a 1 minute chart. This is either a 15-minute or a higher time frame movement. I'm more leaning towards it being a higher time frame. We have a swing here, right? Or sorry, we have a valid low here. So if we're going to continue this uptrend pullback to potentially lead to failure, we would tap into this and we would see a reaction. Ideally around the open of this candle, but I need to see a double bottom on our 15-minute time frame, ideally something like that, in order for me to consider long, and I need to see failure. Why? Because if our objective is to take these equal highs that still haven't been taken yet, we would need to see failure on a higher time frame to give that reversal. Everybody follow? We good? Flat tops, adding to the narrative of going higher. Sorry, be right back in 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. I bought a bunch of balloons for the 4-year-old for when she woke up, and she saw him losing her mind. Trading in, trading in. Do we get it? Or do we get lower? Anybody? You might get a second entry in here, but that would be with the expectation that we've changed order flow. So fast, yeah, it was fast for sure. Characteristic of a higher time frame double bottom. If you've missed it, all right, right? You're looking for this to break structure, ideally. We should trade above these pretty quick. We should trade above these pretty quick. Don't do me like that. Come on. What you're waiting for order flow, again, similarly to what we were looking at up here, you're looking at something like this. Right? Counter narrative is if we fail here, we've actually got a body closure here. And I can understand leaving the sweep alone. Right? And now we're watching price deliver. Should we continue to respect this area or this imbalance? That would trade above. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Right? If you're on the sidelines now, it's okay. You might get a little scalp out of this zone, but it's very aggressive. The only reason that, well, not the only reason, I was expecting this to be a wick, right? So the body closure for me is not, sorry, where am I looking here? I'm looking at something like this. Now, I would have rather us take that liquidity, right? We got 2 minutes for this to close. Really? Oh, it did. Good. Good. One tick. Look at that. Look at him coming in hot. Right? So you might expect lower, and that's okay. You might very well get it, actually. Going back to bed for an hour. All right, man. Right? Is lower possible? Yeah, lower is possible. Typically, we would like to sweep something structural. Now, in fairness, we have swept this protected high, which it is a protected high. Last structural bear bar was here, closure above it, obviously. Putting in this high, which got a body closure underneath here. Right? I'm just cautious of this being a higher time frame bottom. No session is safe with Mikey, eh? Stays up all night for Asia, London. Sociopath for show. Are we entertained or what? Chat's a little quiet. Everybody's focused on the PA. I like that. Good lads. Continued failure up here is no bueno for longs. We haven't taken that low, which is characteristic of the day, which you'll find that they tend to have their own personalities. It's almost like there's different market makers that have their own little one kick on how to squeeze as much money out of us as possible. Right? This is nasty business. Nasty business. Equal highs on a higher time frame. Quite rude. Nice, Russ. Another day, man. Just another day, right? Right? This didn't even take that low. It stopped, what, a point from it? Rude. What are we at now? 13 people that have got their first 13 people have got their first payouts? Like a month and a half? Nonsense. Nonsense. Ironically, yeah. Yeah, fair. I got my first top step payout this week. 3 accounts I started last week. Been with Apex for well over a year, but obviously diversifying given everything that's going on. Right? So when you're looking at areas of failing, now that this has been sorted, you're looking to see, do we sweep here or not? If we close below it, that takes us underneath here because now we have a valid high that's come in after a failure. Ooh, that is nasty. Nasty. I'll sit on my hands for that. That's a little tricky. That's a little tricky. Impression of the top step payout process. It took a couple of days for them to withdraw the money, but I like their platform. It's pretty seamless. Say that again about the valid high. Right. So, ironically, this one tick here is your cause to go long for this high. Or at least at the very minimum, go above this one again. Now, this isn't something I would be in a hurry to take off. But why do we expect this high to get taken? Why do we expect that high to get taken after this? Right? Which is kind of the crux of our system, isn't it? You've got your last structural bull bar in this movement, closed above here. Cool. We failed above here. Awesome. Also equivalently failing above this candle. So then what happens? Right? Failing here at a protected high should take us to the week low, shouldn't it? Where do we stop in a range when we're looking for expansion? Typically 50%. That looks like 50%, doesn't it? Now, here's the kicker. When you're evaluating this short position, where's your first major consideration? Your first major consideration is if it fails to make a valid high. Right? We only use the 50% of this if we're expecting a range or this manipulation isn't conclusive. For example, if we failed swept here and we went on a rocket ship, closed above here, then fine. But all we've done really on our intermediate time frame is sweep this high, or sweep this low, sweep this high. And now we're monitoring the midpoint of it for expansion. You want to see defense. So you had confluence here where it failed to make a valid high, swept it. That one tick, that close of 49.75 on this candle with this low being 49.50, one tick destroyed the short narrative. 50 points. Bang. Clear? One tick's all it takes sometimes. Sometimes the market screams at you what's going on. Sometimes it whispers little secrets. Now we traded up to this area, right? We've got a response out of it. Cool. Why are we expecting here? This is the area where it made a decision to really start going lower. Lethargic, not lethargic. SNDR. Right? Which also mitigated this one that was responsible for putting in this low underneath there. Mitigated here, traded lower. That doesn't mean that this area is going to put in a new low. It could, right? But this tells you we're going up to an objective. We've already dealt with this high. Base hits, my chart's all messed up. Yes, it is, but base hits, well played. Are we green? Are we sitting? Cool. That was a very I hate saying things are advanced because that sounds so conceited or self-serving. It's just the study of price, right? But in terms of finding easy entries, that one was a little challenging. Green, man, what do we say about streaks? What do we say about streaks? Congratulations on your success, my bro. It's well deserved. What do we say about streaks? They don't exist. This is you, period. If you're saying I'm green 4 days, I'm green 5 days, I'm green 7 days or 9 days, you're expecting it to end. Right? Who says you can't be green 22 days of the month? right? You got this, bro. You're putting in the work. You're doing the psychological stuff. Why does it have to be 4? You're just green. Hey, Waldo. Good to see you, man. I'm calling you out because I love you, Green. Better me than Trade Beautiful. And believe me, that's vicious. Little sweep. We're here for all your success, my friend. I just want to see it continue. And the way it continues is if you are that trader, not for the last 4 days. You just are. But that's awesome that you're sticking to your rules and you're getting some positive feedback on your rules and your process. Well deserved. What do we got going on here? Midpoint of this, maybe? Get rid of some of this nonsense now. It's almost as if we could have marked that out from 6 o'clock last night. What does that look like? First tap, second tap. Appreciate that, bro. Those of you guys that don't know, Waldo was in deplorables, and he's been absolutely killing it to the point where he's realized he actually doesn't need anybody, which is exactly the goal for all of you guys. Draw on our expertise until you're able to go off and kill it without it. Fantastic. Yeah, get some fire in the chat for this guy. Midpoint of that imbalance. Hindsight, maybe. Confluence, absolutely. Right? Sweeping here should take us lower. At the minimum, we should take this low. Just rinse and repeat. Same thing. Failure takes us lower. Failure takes us higher. Failure takes you lower. Fails here, then it takes us higher. Some of you guys see that as your SBS stuff, but that's just how price action works. Right? Either way, we listen to the market itself. Sometimes it makes it a little tricky when we got higher time frame objectives to hit. For example, here, we swept that low. Pretty strong movement up, but we couldn't take the high. Are we going to sit in this from 89 when we're up, 25 points here? The question becomes, when do you anticipate failure? Right? How do you know systematically if you're in a long here for this sweep or a failure in here? Say we take a close of this. Obviously, this trade works out. Right? You're looking at the open of the candle. This area here is dynamic resistance. Right? A little less easy to see on this one. We swept higher. Our expectation is this low. Obviously, we're chopping around in here. Higher time frame point of interest. And now technically this isn't a swing. Does that mean that we're not going to get a reaction from it? A lot of volume in there. But again, what I'm seeing is this is a very juicy pattern. We got equal highs here. Potential double bottom depending on what happens with the midpoints of this imbalance. I wouldn't be surprised if we traded up here if we start to expand. Weird. Anybody? If you are, you're likely break even if you get a push here. Okay. Now you're sitting break even. And if it comes back down, then we're not that interested. But we're expecting this high now. At a minimum, we should be expecting here. And if it has to go lower or deeper into this consolidation, then it will. My fill was above the close. It took me out break even. Yikes. I wouldn't chase, but you're still creating the habit of getting in at your good spot with proper narrative. Look at this guy. 90.91 over a month. $90.91. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for popping in, and congrats on your success. It's very well deserved. Tricky, tricky, tricky. This candle got closed below. This traded down, failed here. Our expectation still is, trading above this, right? However, sweeping above this here inside of this range and failing is leading to more downside, unfortunately, right? So now we're monitoring what happens with this low now. Currently sitting on my hands, but when you're starting to see failure above these range bound type candles, it's the same process as what we're looking for down here, right? The question then becomes, when do you expect this to be a sweep or failure, right? We're seeing expansionary type movement without taking the opposite end. See if we get this. Take this off now. Let's see what we do. We're trading right into this area of consolidation. Those of you guys that enjoy the measured move fund, you're basically looking at this. Well, you're probably looking at that actually. So again, what you're looking at when you're looking for potential reversal patterns is you typically want the open of the candle to trade lower and then trade through. Right? Trading up first and then down is typically how bear bars are formed, expansionary. It's also one of the tells when we're anticipating a proper sweep. Mm. Good selling pressure, hasn't achieved anything. I'm in from the sweep and I'm break even as it stands. Still haven't tagged that fractal, right? So this is your first consideration. Violent movement, but I'm liking the response of the bulls so far. I don't want to see this area swept and then failed. So that would be what, 76, 75? But that would be your next area of consideration. Now that we're inside of here, we've already rejected from it slightly. And now you're following your lows up, right? So assuming we get sustained pressure above here, your stop now goes to here. My target right now is this. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, I like kind of showing you guys, not the P&L at all, but sort of whereabouts I'm looking to get in at. Your aggressive stop, if you're trailing, is here, 71, right? Yeah, I haven't posted P&L in a while because it doesn't do you guys any good to see how much or how little I make on a daily basis, right? Yeah. Cybertruck, man. You kidding? Cybertruck. I will never own a Lamborghini. I will never own one. If I'm going to get a car of that quality, it's going to be an R8 for certain. Ooh. Ooh. Tightening up to the midpoint of that wick. I didn't like that failure. I need a response now or I'm gone. Okay, that was well defended. I'm now looking at that low of that candle. And if it takes me out, it takes me out. By that candle, I mean this one, where we went down, we then pushed up, and I just got taken out. And if I miss a huge move, then I miss a huge move, which will be annoying, given that we haven't even tried putting in a valid high yet, but I didn't like this failure, which tells me we're probably going below here. And I don't want to sit in that kind of drawdown. Don't tell me that, V. Don't. Oh, man. Don't tell me that. Yeah. Everybody understand why we're getting out here? How do you enter this entry? It's a lot of our. I've made quite a few videos on it for. Well, actually, that's not true. I made a couple of videos on it for the group. It's essentially our sweep model that we use, right? There's a couple of things that we do a lot for the community, and there's a lot that, like, you'll see all the core content and whatnot that's all out there in the education section. That's for you guys from us. But hey, Ozzy, how you doing, man? The key with this trade, yes, we focus on entry, but it's equally as important and much less classy to have major reasons to get out too. We don't like getting out. It makes us uncomfortable, doesn't it? Why? Because the rational mind, as we talk about, the rational thing to do when you're up in profit is to take it off. Hey, Ozzy, you just joined up, didn't you? Let's get some fire on this guy. Welcome to the gang. Welcome to the gang. Right? So going back to the psychology, and we'll walk through the exit here. This will be some sauce for you lads. Having an entry here, we typically have defined models for getting in. That's the fun stuff. That's what the majority of people back test. That's what we look at. We look at how do we attack the market? How do I get on the action? Where's the best possible thing? I want 2 ticks of drawdown and I want to be up 100 points. How do I do it? Right? But what's less classy is actually having, and oftentimes this is more important, defined reasons to get out of a trade. That's not emotional, because that's how you make your trading systematic. You eliminate as much discretion as you can, because that's how you have consistent actions over time. Is you have, if A, then B, if B, then C. If fails here, I should take here. If this fails, I should take there. Right? How many trades would we have had this morning? I don't know about you guys. I'm sitting pretty. Hopefully you guys are green as well. But irregardless of that, what you're looking at, and I'll get to that in a second, Christoph, for sure. Good to see you in here, by the way, man. You're essentially looking at, to get involved is the same reason we exit. Right? So if you're long, you're looking for the inability to go lower. Right? That doesn't mean this is necessarily going here. This was my target, because I thought that we might take this high. So what happened when we went higher here and failed? That's giving us our first major warning sign, isn't it? Let's see it in the chat. We understanding what's going on here? Obviously, I missed a short here from that failure concept in an area of interest. We're now finally at the midpoint of our larger zone, and we've taken out everything up till here. So this will be a higher time frame double bottom if. So what you're looking for in here is the ability for the market to rally. You want the market to push up and then fail, and if it fails, you're gone here. You're not waiting for it to come all the way back down to even here or wherever your entry is. Look at that car. How many people we got here? Are we engaged? Are we having fun? Type of one in the chat if you guys are here. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on next Thursday that you guys might like a little bit. Hey, F. Dimidesis. Good to see you, man. Hey, Joker's in the chat too. I just wanted to panic you, Tom. So next Thursday, we're really popping off. As if everything that we've done today wasn't enough. Next Thursday, we've got another community day going on, right? But this time, my God, look at this move. But this time, we've got a whole bunch of giveaways and a marble race that we're doing. Whole bunch of giveaways. So what we're doing is we're giving away 3 take profit accounts. We met with them yesterday on the ability to put all of the affiliate money, by the way, from you guys using accounts and our codes and stuff goes right back into you guys. Right? The vast majority of it goes immediately back to either Take Profit or Apex or whatever. And then we met with them to be able to buy accounts and transfer them to you guys. Right? So that's kind of our methodology is we don't We don't want that money at all. We actually want it to go back to you guys. And the only way we can really do that is through account generation for those of you guys that are using them. So we've got 3 of those 50s that are coming out. We're going to give away a month of membership as well to one lucky race winner, and then we'll do some free Discord calls as well. And that's all going to be Thursday in the marble race, which was way too much fun last time. So make sure that you guys are here for market close on the 25th. Gonna be lit. So we'll crush the markets, we'll crush Asia, and we'll have some fun. Bring out the inner child in all of us. Sound cool? You're feeling lucky. Ice cold. Ironically, the sweep model is a main entry model, but it also keeps you pretty safe, doesn't it? What time frame is this move part of? Even if you missed it, fine. We don't have to be in on everything. It's nice when we are. But if you're waiting for a long and you have very strict rules, you're looking for something similar to this. But you need to see buying come in, don't you? What we got going on here? We got that low. We got this one. Are those equal? No, they're not. Still, pretty close. This will be a very juicy manipulation. But I don't think that's part of even the 15-minute time frame. You got 22 minutes for that. That's some nice pressure coming in. What you would look for is, my goodness, trading lower and failing, which would give you a wick of sorts. But you're not expecting a V bottom because this is higher time frame movement. We'll see. We'll see. Watch it prove me wrong and just wick this, fail, and then go on a rocket ship. Either way, I'd be very nervous if I was short if this gets swept. Are we not entertained? Thank you for spending your Thursday with us. Hopefully you guys have learned something even so far. 15 minutes looks like it can be a really good sweep. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely it does. And now you're determining whether or not you're going to get it. Now, your first consideration is the closure above this candle. That's warning sign big time. Right? Cool, Alex. That's awesome. Get a little bit more comfortable with your analysis, that leads to some pretty profound movements. Nice, bro. Mitigated on the way up. We don't have any imbalance here to bounce off of. All we have right now is reading the right side of the chart with this high, with our expectation of a possible bottom here. I'm up $1,200 on Top Step, so I'm probably done for the day. I'm not trading Apex until they release my money. And what are we going to do? Not for 2 accounts. Nope. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You kidding? I'm wearing their shirt for being one of their top 100 traders. Probably offshore answering of their support. They've got a million fires to put out, maybe. I'm still casually optimistic, but it's not like they haven't paid all of them. They paid for 10 of my payouts, right? They've left a few of the accounts. I'm just not happy about everything that's going on. Nope, no sweep. TBT is very good. TBT is very, very good. Oh, no. They didn't deny any payouts. They've never denied any payouts since I've been with them. I've gotten payouts every month for this year. None of them have been denied. It just girl, let me love you. Yeah. No, they haven't rejected. I don't DCA, as you guys know, or anything like that. I take my losses when they come. Right. But they approved these 2 accounts on the 21st of June and they haven't released the funds. So it's more frustrating. But they're at like 200 million payouts, so I'm sure they're not terribly concerned about a few accounts, right? But it's just everything else that's going on. I'm glad that you guys are getting your payouts. That's awesome. Right? Like I'm not like doom and gloom for it at all. They're still the number 1 firm in my opinion. The longer that they have issues with this sort of thing though in the community, the more that Top Step and Take Profit take their market share. I don't trust any firm now. God damn, Michelle. Girl don't miss. No trade still, eh, Tom? Even this? I thought you would have been all over that. Protected high, swept. Location, no bueno. No bueno. Oh, it's in the bathroom. You don't have one of those fancy chairs? Commitment level, man. Commitment level. This group made all the knowledge come together. No, Michelle, you had it all. You just needed to realize you did. Genius invention. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Whoop. What do we got? What do we got? 22, 21. Can we do it? This is our low. 10 even? No, 10 even? 10 even. How about that? You might get a strong reaction back up to this zone, which would then likely have a reaction back down. Right? You're looking for something like this. Ideally, a second failure. Nice of a run. Nas still got lower. Interesting. Okay. Take Profit firm is legit. Yes, they are. They're They're a very strong firm. How I look at the prop firm industry, by the way, is you've got like a dozen firms out there, maybe more, that all have their base and whatnot. But you look at their ability to, like, what separates, I don't know, Blue Sky or Earn to Trade. There's nothing that is really different. Their account sizes are the same as Apex or Top Step. Cool. You know, at least Bull and Ox, you can have 11 accounts. You can scale, right? But how long do you need for a payout? What's your max payout that you can get? It's dangerous. You got buying pressure coming in. 35 seconds on this candle. If it starts to accelerate and fails underneath here, then we're really going higher pretty quick. Probably up to here. That's a big if. You've got yet another valid low, so we're expecting some sort of, if it's not here, it'll be a little bit lower, but this is your low. And now it's determining what it wants to do. I'm not liking it attempting to rally and failing. Really good. That's really, really good. Really good response. Still pushing. You're looking at that high now. Probably quite a bit higher. Really good response from selling pressure. Tricky. Right? Took that low, only took that high and failed. Would still be extremely nervous short, but we might get another sweep down. We'll see. And that's only from the selling pressure that's come in. Mm, mm, mm. Really good sustained defense. Legend is right. Yup. There's that high. Some nice sustained pressure still. Nice little failure in here, eh? And now we've got a very high objective if we can get there. Anybody grab this? Were you able to hold on to it? Legends. A little bit of selling pressure coming in here. We'll see what happens. Pretty good closure. This is just spooling upwards. Interesting to see how this closes. Might have to trade back down to here. We'll see. Really good defense. Skipping. You guys still holding this? We're finally back up into that, or are we back up into that range? 1975? Yep, just hit it. We're looking at this if Yeah, let's walk through it. Right? Failure at a 15-minute low. Key one, responsible for all this PA. Right? So this higher time frame swing tapped into the middle of it. Strong reaction. Failure here took us down below this low. And now we failed the low of it itself. So Sweet Model 101, protected lows on higher time frames. And then what does that look like? Cheat code model. It's essentially when you're expecting higher time frame push and you get bear bars, you buy the close of the bear bar, expecting this to be slight profit taking on the way up with an agenda. So stop goes below it, you buy the close. Very simple, but obviously the key is when you're expecting spooling and you see that what ended up happening. The close of this was 79.50. The open of this was 79.25, and 34 points later, right? Open of this was 2003. High was 22.50. Another 20 points later. Bang, bang. Casual 100-point rally. Yeah, I didn't take anywhere near that, unfortunately. I am still expecting up here at 50s. Really good defense of that order block. Even though we failed higher so far. Right? So we're looking at this has been swept. Ideally, we trade below here, but we're really having difficulty with that. So not exactly. I mean, that's even if you're considering short, but your consideration would be if you're taking profits here or not, or if you're expecting something to go below here, maybe this flat bottom. $11.50 there. Nasty. What happens with this low here at 79, or if we just Korean lower back down to this zone, also feasible. If you're hitting this, you're expecting very fast and violent expansion and unfinished business. You don't want to see major selling pressure come in like we're seeing right now. You want to see major defense from the bullish side. Ideally, that candle gets swept. Very violent. Need some major expansion here if you did scoop that. That's a beautiful move. Needs to get going though. Ideally up to that candle, but should we continue to thrust like we are, there's a lot of shorts that are trapped after all that violence. Get going. Your first consideration is that major fractal, possibly that order block. I wouldn't want a strong rejection here. Otherwise, I'd be gone. Trade, bro. Right? So we're looking at this candle that we closed below. Again, order block theory. Looking at this. Right? Ideally, we want to tap into this that made the decision-making point. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm. Good lad. Oop. This is a very violent push down, so that low is in jeopardy, but we'll see. We're considering if we have to trade back down into this here or lower, given how violent this is. This will be our area of interest if. That was a brutal entry. Seeing if we trade back down further, given the rejection that's going on here. Somehow I hit the button at 91 and it filled me at 84. So currently just sitting watching this. Better. Brutal fill. Brutal fill. That's a weird moderation log, Mohan. I don't know why it's is he still here? Weird. Mm-mm-mm-mm. And target filled. There we go. This has potential. If you're wrong, take it off early, right? We don't, we want to see a reaction from here. We don't want to see failed manipulation, right? We just traded higher. Now we're trading through. That's expansionary. Pleasure, Alex. Congrats on your day, my friend. Good lad. Right? And then if we look back at the change in personality up here, how we were thrusting down in areas that we should have been moving higher, similarly to why we were not looking short in here, right? Just blipping higher for no, well, not no reason. Obviously, it has a reason, but it's that character of the move itself. That's a next step in your guys' education, right? What does it feel like it's doing? And then we pair that with our narrative. So this area failed. We don't really have much stopping us until we get below here, right? If we're looking at the flip, you're looking at the midpoint being 25. Does that coincide with anything? I suppose it coincides with that, doesn't it? But very violent. Where's the liquidity right now? It's actually underneath here. There is an SNDR here that might give us something, but we'll see. Pretty violent, well defended. $13 seconds. Honor your experience. If you don't like it, stay out. Vicious. Looking for major expansion now. If that was good, that was a good response. Might have to take those lows by the look of it. Look at that. Good lad. Beautiful V. I did get in here. I was up, but I was expecting a larger move, and I was actually expecting a little bit more out of that candle. So I took that off. Almost as if we called it being a volatile day this morning, didn't we? Thanks. Stalling. Decision making here. Oh dear. Oh dear. Nice, bro. Um, so I actually had a really good call with somebody yesterday. All this nonsense. Let's get rid of all of it for a sec. Get rid of that. So we've got our higher time frame range here, right? All this. This we were expecting, or at least I was expecting, higher into the morning. Breaking below here, if we get a change in order flow, that sends us back up into the range. Ideally to the SNDR that sent us lower, right? This is actually the SNDR on the higher time frame that broke out of this smaller range here, right? So first objective is to trade up to 66.25 from this low. We did that quite easily, I might add, right? I think that low is actually here, right? So we traded up. We actually blasted through it all the way up to this prior range. So should we switch and go lower from here, essentially what this has done is it's traded back up into the range itself. And now going lower, what have we got? We've got no swings from this low all the way up to this high. We've got our SNDR here that was responsible for breaking structure. We've got a swing that came in here. This is the area that broke above it. So should we switch bearish and we saw a little bit of an order flow adjustment in here, we actually take out all of this with the one consideration of having this here. So if we're short, especially after this area gets wrecked, I was actually short into it. We're not really looking at getting, we might get a bounce out of the origin. I see we got held up here briefly, but given the selling strength, we just went blasting through it, didn't we? And now where are we looking? All right, we've taken this low already. Cool. We've got this one all the way down here at 811. Do we have anything in there at all? Consolidation, I suppose. Not really much underneath 86, which I think we're already well past. Violent. Well defended. Probably has to take that low as it stands right now with this order flow. Shocker, I know, given the price action. Challenging short, but still holding. Very challenging short, but still holding. Right, looking at this imbalance and this structural candle that we're failing to go above. Tells us at least a little bit lower, or at least it should. Very violent. Did that answer your question, by the way, Anthony? Cool. Pretty violent on both sides here. A little indecisive. I can understand the buying case. Right. Nice little sweep down here, but well defended up here, which I'm leaning with preference to given the severity of the movement so far. That was a very nice movement, though. She's going to rally. She's going to rally hard because we've already mitigated the area above. Not really what you want to see out of the bull case with this pressure, but still a lot of selling wicks. You want something closing at or near its highs at a minimum. But it'll probably make it extremely difficult to get a hold of when it does. Very possible, yeah. We're starting to see signs of a rejection. Right. So sweeping down here, no bueno. Be surprised if it came up here and took all of this, but it's possible. Starting to skip up a little bit now, but it's violent on both sides. Sustained bullish pressure, but equal lows. Different considerations. Should drop now. That's it, eh? See, that's a violent move to have to trade above already. $15 to see where this bar closes. We very well could get a range here before dropping. We'll see. Yeah, we've been going a little late, haven't we, Martin? Sorry. Come on. Don't do us like that.